Hello, everyone. My name is Brennen. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. Welcome to my second live stream. Uh, I, so this one is an early birthday celebration. So my birthday is in 2 weeks. Full disclosure, I will be 39. Um, today is actually, oddly enough, my sister's birthday. We are 2 weeks less than 2 years apart. And so happy birthday, Shannon. Um, she is one of the most amazing people. Valedictorian in high school, very motivated, mother to my nephews and nieces, soon to be another niece, added to the group. So happy birthday, Shannon. And I hope that you're having a great day. The So today I wanted to just kind of go with what just whatever's on my mind. First of all, in the chat, we've got my buddy uh, Captain Hopper. Hey, Captain, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. So I wanted to talk really quick about Skeleton Crew. Not so much the news, as much as why I'm excited for it. And I think the reason I'm excited is as much as I liked The Acolyte, it was pretty heavy. And I think it's time for us to get something maybe a little bit lighter. I think that with The Acolyte and with Andor, these are very heavy shows. And we need, I think, a little bit of a breather because we have The Acolyte and all the other stuff that went with it, the discourse and all that stuff. And then we have Andor season 2 coming out next year, which I'm very excited for. But Andor is not the easiest show to watch. And neither is The Acolyte. So Skeleton Crew to me seems like the breath of fresh air we've been missing. And I hope that it's going to be just fun and adventurous and lighthearted, a little bit more in the tradition with the original film, and maybe take a break from the heaviness. And I think it is a wise decision to release Skeleton Crew in between these two heavier shows. So I'm excited. I just saw the Goonies for the first time a couple of weeks ago, believe it or not. And I know that that's what they're trying to go for with Skeleton Crew. And I'm all for it. Space pirates and finding a ship crashed in the woods. As our friend Becca Benjamin said, do they have booty traps in there in all their supplies? And if you have seen the Goonies, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, here we got in the chat here. All right. Laser is here. Hey, Laser. Says, I've been looking forward to Skeleton Group for a long time, but I'm a little worried. Yeah, I mean, there's always reason to worry about it not being good. But also there's that economic business worries. The Acolyte was discontinued because it seems it just didn't have enough viewers. And, there's always the scary possibility that Skeleton Crew will not make money either. So there's always the question that is it going to be good? But also on the business side of it, is it going to be successful? So I agree, Laser. I agree. Let's see, who else is in the chat? Oh, yeah. It's John Wilcox. It's J-Dub. Thank you, John, very much. John and Cooper have been big supporters of my work for quite a while now. And I've had the privilege of talking with them quite regularly and sharing our love of Star Wars. The interesting thing I think about Skeleton Crew is that, we're getting into kind of that era because it takes place at the same time as The Mandalorian. So we're looking at kind of an interesting time in the galaxy. Because the Empire is gone, and I say that very loosely, because we've learned in The Mandalorian that the Empire looks like it's just a bunch of scattered warlords. Turns out, no, it's actually an organized initiative. And they're waiting for a certain blue-skinned Grand Admiral to return. Yeah, the timeline is very surprising. J-Dub says, I will say, the timeline placement of Skeleton Crew was a surprise to me. Very interesting. Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting choice. So the Empire is at least, for the most part, out of the way. The New Republic is rising. This is the early days of the New Republic. And there's a sense of, probably a sense of pirates taking the opportunity to get in and start causing trouble. And of course, who doesn't love space pirates? So these kids running into space pirates sounds like a lot of fun to me. Captain Hopper says, I am very much looking forward to Skeleton Crew. Yeah. Yeah, I am too. We have to wait a little while. Just over 2 months. And I hope that it's kind of going to be the palate cleanser that I hope it's going to be. So anyone just joining us, the StreamYard link is in the chat. So feel free to come in and share your thoughts. If you'd rather stay in the chat, that's fine with me. Um, just let me know how you're feeling out there. I know that it's been a little bit. Oh yeah, J Dub says he loves the concept. Yeah. So I gotta say that right now is a weird time in the fandom because I think the discontinuation of the Acolyte has led a lot of people feel kind of bummed out, and I agree. I'm feeling a bit bummed out that it was not continued. Now, certainly we can debate whether or not it's a good show or whatnot, but I'm just a little bit bummed that it did get discontinued because of how many people were very enthusiastic. But as nerds, there is a long history of shows being canceled. The original Star Trek was canceled once. The fans saved it for another season, and then it was canceled again for good. Um, the Stargate, all three Stargate shows were canceled at the end. Star Trek Enterprise was canceled. Farscape was canceled. Most famously of all, Serenity was canceled. Or Firefly, Serenity is the movie. The list goes on and on and on. And Community was canceled, I swear, at least 3 times. But the fans were able to save it. So I will say, never say never with the future of the Acolyte. There is a chance it will be saved, and if not, then I'm sure they will continue the story in books, comics, video games. Who knows? Even animated shows. So I trust that no matter what, the story's going to keep going forward. Captain Hawthorne makes a really good point here. My only concern is the toxic anti-Disney fans, and he says that in quotes, who ruin it for the rest of us. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's very sad that that's how it is. Now, I try to ignore a lot of the toxicity, but sometimes it's so nasty that I can't just sit back and ignore it. It really gets to me. It does. I'm trying to work on that. I think the real trick is if you run into toxicity, don't respond at all. That's my advice. So yeah, I agree with Laserbolt. He says, I don't like that the haters take the cancellation as a win. Less Star Wars is a loss for us all. Yeah. Yeah, we could get into that, but I do just want to say right up that you may be aware of some stuff that happened a week or two ago. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that I love and I support Alex and Molly Damon. As Star Wars Explained, I love them. And I support them 100%. And Molly, particularly, is awesome. So, just wanted to say, I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but I love them and I support them completely. Captain Hawthorne says Enterprise was so underrated. I agree. He also says the last season was the best. Yeah, season 4 was amazing. So many great story arcs. Star Trek Enterprise was magnificent. Oh, yep. Captain Author is sharing one of my favorite things. Hashtag 6 seasons and a movie, which is the community hashtag. I've heard rumors that there might be a movie. And I hope it's true because they did get the 6 seasons. By the way, I'm just going to say it. For me, Community is way better than The Big Bang Theory, particularly when it comes to depicting nerds. Abed Nadir is like my spirit animal. Laser's laughing at Captain Out There yet. Laser says Alex and Molly are the best. Yes. Captain Author says hashtag Molly is right. Yes, she is. So J Dub says you can't stop the haters. I agree. But you can create communities where it's unwelcome. I agree 100% with that. Communities where you can enjoy what you enjoy with no agenda either way. We can't change the bigger community, sadly. Yes, I agree. I agree, J-Dub. I agree. That unfortunately we can't change it. But what we can do individually is, as J-Dub says, create a safe space where people can enjoy what they want to. I agree. Yeah, very well said, J-Dub. Um, Captain Author says the community movie is supposed to be on Peacock. Yeah, I agree, Cat. He's like big community, way better than the Big Bang Theory. Yeah, it was really funny. So a couple of weeks ago was GalaxyCon in San Jose, and I went there, and Will Wheaton was there. I got to meet him and got his autograph. I had him autograph a picture from Star Trek Prodigy, which is the animated series. One of the pictures that his assistant said, "Do you want him to sign this Big Bang Theory picture?" I didn't say anything, but inside I was saying, "Not on your life." No disrespect to people who like Big Bang Theory. There are some very funny moments. Community just works better for me. I see the world the way Abed sees it, through the lens of movies and TV. Laser says Big Bang Theory is pretty good at first, but when it got old real fast. Yeah, I would agree with that. Captain Author says got kind of mean. Yeah, laughing at nerds and not laughing with nerds. Yeah. But putting the Big Bang Theory talk aside, um, there have been so many shows that have been canceled, in particularly nerd-based films or shows, I should say. But there's always a chance that they would come back. Also, I just want to take a minute. Speaking of Big Bang Theory, to give a my thoughts on the great James Earl Jones, who guest appeared on Big Bang Theory a few times, I think, or at least one that was really funny. I will agree. I will admit it's very funny. James Earl Jones, that voice is the voice of my childhood in many ways. Um, Lion King came out when I was 9, so it really, played a big role there. Darth Vader has always been a presence in my life. I'm looking at my Darth Vader piggy bank head. I've got like a bank shaped like Darth Vader sitting on my dresser. Um, and so many other films. Even Doctor Strangelove, you might recall. He has a small role in that. Field of Dreams, The Hunt for Red October, one of my favorites. The Sandlot, of course. You're killing me, Smalls. Great movie. And of course, the voice of CNN. Yeah. So, really incredible work. Not only as a voice, but as an actor. Also, his stage performances. Tony winner for The Great White Hope and Fences. I read Fences in college by August Wilson. You may be familiar with the movie starring Denzel. Originally in the 80s, Troy Maxson was played by James Earl Jones. And there is a clip you can find on YouTube of his performance. And he's absolutely terrifying, by the way. As Troy Maxson, his son, was saying, "Why haven't you ever liked me?" And Troy goes into this kind of rant about, "I don't have to like you." James Earl Jones plays it magnificently. So he's so many great stage and screen performances. And the world is sad to have him gone. He was 93, I believe. So it's sad, yes, but that is a life well lived. Let's see. Captain Hopper says he radiated positivity in every interview I watched. Yeah, he sure did. He loved his work. He loved Star Wars. He loved being in pop culture. Laser. Oh, interesting, Laser. So Laser Video says he's a local legend around my town. He got his stage debut at our local theater. Wow, that's really neat, Laser. You imagine what it would have been like to see this young, stuttering kid from Mississippi come to dominate the stage. I mean, one of the roles that really made him well known was Shakespeare in the Park in New York City. He did Othello, and he played Othello with, I think, Christopher Plummer as Iago and Kelsey Grammer as Cassio. But James Earl just completely dominated the scene with like the roar of the lion. The I don't know why Katy Perry's song is coming to mind. And you're gonna hear me roar, in Eye of the Tiger or whatever. No, Eye of the Tiger is another song, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Captain Arthur says he was mighty in Field of Dreams. Yep. Laser says he was hired to help build the theater and ended up starring in shows. That's really amazing. And Laser points out, yeah, the Othello was in the 1950s and before he had ever starred in a movie. Um, so yeah, thank you, James Earl Jones, for everything that you did to make our lives all the much richer. Yeah, truly extraordinary. Um, the other thing is today is Mark Hamill's birthday. Um, I just recently watched um or rewatched Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Mark Hamill, outside of playing Luke Skywalker, has been the animated voice of the Joker in video games and on TV for many years. And I think his Joker is really quite terrific and very iconic. Also, just Mark Hamill as a voice actor is terrific. So, happy birthday, Mark. Thank you for yet again making our lives richer. Captain Alpha says he is the definitive Joker for Captain Alpha. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many great performances as Joker that it's hard for me to pick which one. But I think to me, Heath Ledger is the one that has impressed me the most. But Mark Hamill certainly has been doing it the longest of anybody. The it's pretty extraordinary how many different ways you can do the Joker. Laser says he really loves his Joker gig, and it shows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's really, really into it. So happy birthday, Mark. Now to go on a slight non Star Wars tangent, we got the Joker sequel coming up. Fully Adieu. Now I saw the first film in theater. Um, I thought it was pretty good, but I don't think I'd ever want to watch it again because it was creepy and kind of terrifying. Um, the sequel, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. Um, I I don't know if I will go see the sequel in theater. I might, but I'm not entirely convinced that this is going to work. It's not a musical per se, but it is got musical numbers. That's an interesting choice. By the way, here's an interesting fact for you. There's more singing in the Joker trailer than there is in the Wicked trailer. There's been no singing in the Wicked trailers. I don't think I'm particularly interested in the Wicked film. Oddly enough, it comes out the same day as Gladiator 2. So I don't know what's going to happen. Um, so, by the way, I thought that was rather interesting that, well, not to go on another tangent, but the reason I mentioned Wicked is Wicked opens the same day as Gladiator 2. But all the trailers for Wicked have featured no singing. The Joker sequel trailer is featured more singing. Interesting. And then as for Lady Gaga playing this other version of the Harley Quinn, well, we'll have to see. Let's see. Laser says, I hope it succeeds, but I won't be watching it in the theater. Yeah, yeah, I agree that Joker probably not going to see it in the theater. Now, I don't care too much anymore about Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic or any of that. I know that the first Joker film got net reviews. So if this one gets net reviews, it doesn't bother me because it's a film that's meant to be challenging. So the odds of it getting mixed reviews are high. Let's see. Captain Halter says Gladiator 2 looks better than I thought it would. I want to see it. Yes, I will probably be going to see it in theaters. Even if it's not good, I'm going to go see it. Because you give me a Roman epic, I mean, come on. Denzel continuing his period piece acting, as he did Macbeth a couple years ago. Yeah, I agree with J Dub. He says Gladiator 2 looks good. Yep, yep. Laser says it will be a spectacle for sure. I'll tell you what, folks. Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott. He has made some amazing films. And he's also made some films that are not good. Or, well, just plain bad. And Gladiator 2, which he's also directing, looks like it's going to be a Ridley Scott film. In the sense that, like all of his movies, it's going to look good. Even if it is not a good film overall. A friend and I were talking, and we've come to the agreement that Ridley Scott is only as good as the script. If it's a good script, it will be a good movie. It would say bad script, it will not be a good movie. Because he doesn't seem to add much to the screenplay. Now, this is not true in every film. A lot of his films, where the script is the script, and he's going to direct that script no matter what. And if the script is good, the movie will be good. For example, The Martian is one of my favorite films. Drew Goddard wrote that script based on Andy Weir's novel. And the movie was extraordinary. In fact, I know a couple of people have to remind themselves that it's a Ridley Scott movie because most Ridley Scott films are a little bit on the serious side, except for Matchstick Man and The Martian. And The Martian is very funny, though um, I will argue with the Golden Globes that The Martian isn't a comedy, or at least shouldn't have been competing in the best comedy or musical category. But it is very funny. And we can certainly debate that point. But the the script was great. By the way, Drew Goddard, who wrote the script, wrote several popular episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And when I found that out, I realized that it made sense because the sense of humor in The Martian is similar to the sense of humor in Buffy. It's a perfect blend of drama and comedy with a lot of pop culturalisms and almost what you might call Buffy speak in the dialogue. Um, and I agree. The Martian has that style that once you know the connection between Buffy and the Martian, at least for me, I see it. So whether or not Gladiator 2 will be good, I think it's going to depend on how good the script is. But it is certain to have great spectacle and be visually arresting. Let's see what we got here. We got Laser said that Scott's best comedy. Yep. He said it's just weird that comedy was the closest category to describe a sci-fi clip, a sci-fi flick. Yes, I agree. I think sometimes they don't know what to do with sci-fi. Though I would argue that The Martian technically isn't sci-fi. The only thing sci-fi about it is that we haven't done it yet. But the technology, as far as I know, is real stuff. Let's see. Laser also says Alien and the Martian, chef's kiss. Yeah, Alien is also one of my favorite films. In fact, as we're coming into spooky season, Alien is my favorite horror film. Laser Set plus Blade Runner. Yeah, Blade Runner. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Blade Runner. Now, oh boy, we're going to be reviewing that on Random Track um, in November, and we'll be doing the final cut. Speaking of, well, Ridley Scott and director's cuts versus theatrical cuts. Yeah, we'll be doing the final cut in November. Which I think the final cut is where the movie is at its most brilliant. But regardless, I think Blade Runner is brilliant no matter how you slice it. But I do like what they put back in with the final cut. I don't have much love for studio executives because I find that more often than not, the alterations that they ask for only make the movie worse or are not good for the movie. I am very much of the opinion that the director, I want to see the director's movie. Even if it's not good, I want to see their vision. It's interesting to me that we mentioned Blade Runner and Alien and The Martian, Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott saw Star Wars, and one of the things he liked about it was that everything looked dirty and beat up and old. So we get to Alien 2 years after Star Wars. I think the phrase that Ridley used was space truckers. So it's dirty and grungy on the spaceship. Just a little influence that Star Wars had on the visual language of science fiction, particularly when it comes to the look of the worlds, the buildings, the clothes, the spaceship. It all looks used. And that's one thing we like about Star Wars for sure. Well, let's see. I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to hop in and say hello. Uh, if you don't want to, you're welcome to be in the chat and share your thoughts. I am very interested in the speaking of future content in Star Wars. We got the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which is filming right now, and I tell you, I'm glad to hear that it's actually filming because there have been some films announced that are not happening, or at least not happened yet. Now, I'm talking about the ones officially announced by Lucasfilm, not the ones quote unquote announced by Variety, Deadline, Screen Rant, those guys. But directly from Lucasfilm, there have been a few movie announcements. But I am so very happy to hear that Mando Grogu is filming because the because it's happening. Somebody once said it's the tangibilization of the movie. Let's see. Looks like I missed a comment here. Captain Author says that the Joker film, the original one, as in 5 years ago Joker, was fine, that it did not feel like the Joker. It felt like pseudo Joker, for lack of a better term. Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. It's a very, very different approach to the idea. He's really not the Joker. He's a Martin Scorsese style sociopath who likes to dress up like a clown. I mean, yeah. Let's see. We also got comment from Cap. Cap says Alien was great, but I love Alien so much. One of my favorite Cameron flicks. Yeah, Aliens is my favorite James Cameron movie. And we will also be reviewing Aliens. In fact, sneak peek the random track. We'll be reviewing Aliens for October in honor of Halloween. Um, so keep an eye out for that. Um, it's very interesting that how we got started with random track. As you know, we watch random episodes of Star Trek um, based on a randomizer. But every month we do a Star Trek movie. Well, we reviewed all of the Star Trek movies. So now we're, for the last, I don't know, year, I think, we've been reviewing other um, sci-fi films. And yeah, Aliens is coming up, and I'm very excited to bring that to you when we get there. I think that Alien and Aliens are a great example of how you can have a sequel that goes in a completely different direction than the original. Alien is basically a slasher in space. Aliens is a rip roaring action film. Which, by the way, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Sigourney Weaver in Aliens was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress. Action films typically do not get nominated in the acting categories. So it was really neat to learn that Sigourney Weaver was nominated for an Oscar. That's really cool. And I am in awe of her. And speaking of Star Wars, she's going to be in the Mandalorian Grogu movie. And she said it herself. So it's not a rumor, it's straight from her. The the we don't know what she's going to be, and I would hope. Now, I mean no disrespect to anyone. When I heard that Christopher Lloyd was going to be in Mandalorian season 3, I was very excited. I have to confess right here, I don't like that episode. Sanctuary in season no, the Guns for Hire, Guns for Hire in season 3 of Mando. I don't particularly like that episode. Now, I'm not complaining about Jack Black and Lizzo, even though I do think Lizzo was a little bit flat in terms of acting, but whatever. I'm not complaining about them being in Star Wars. The episode just doesn't work for me for whatever reason. But as we saw, Christopher Lloyd didn't have a very big role. I would hope, and maybe I'm being an entitled fan. Maybe I'm behaving like an entitled fan. But I would hope that Sigourney Weaver is in the movie as a bigger character than Christopher Lloyd was in Mandalorian. Because it's Sigourney Weaver. I mean, for heaven's sake. Now, what she'll be playing? I don't know. I mean, she could play a Mandalorian. She could play an Imperial officer. She could play a New Republic officer. She could play a pirate, though that would be kind of interesting. A soldier, who knows? So we'll see where that goes. But I'm very excited for the movie. And I'm excited to see what she has to offer. Let's see. Captain Hopper says, have you seen Agatha All Along yet? Well, apart from tonight's episode, yes. I saw the first 2 episodes. Interesting. It's too early for me to say whether I like it or not. I mean, Catherine Hahn is great. Just she is. And Aubrey Plaza, speaking of well, it's funny because I sometimes put community and parks and recreation in the same sentence. Aubrey Plaza, of course, very famous for playing April Woodgate in Parks and Rec. She's in the show Agatha All Along, but we've only seen her once, or in one episode, I should say. We'll see where that goes. So far, I don't really have an opinion on whether I like it or not, because I don't really know what's going on, but well, now I do. Episode 2 kind of clarified what's going on. I am interested to see where the story goes. So I guess in that sense, they got my attention. And, it's Halloween time. Time for a little witchy goodness. So, yeah, I am intrigued, I think will be the right word. Okay, let's see what we got here. Captain Hopper says, the 3 most kick-butt women in cinema. Princess Leia, Ellen Ripley, And Sarah Connor. Yeah. 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 And I think that all three of them are like an evolution of the other. We start with Leia, really, and then we get Ripley, and then we get Sarah Connor, and one goes to the next. Yeah. So let's see, Captain Hopper. He said he liked the droid angle in that episode of Mando, but the episode was not the best. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I just rewatched Mando season 3, and it's fantastic. And am I thought, I mean, for me personally, it might be my favorite season of The Mandalorian. But yeah, good stuff. Um, Laser says about Ripley, first officer on a mining vessel. Yeah. Yeah, it's a Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. Basically playing the same character she did in Alien. And first officer on a mining ship. Yeah. No, I can see that. It'd be funny if that's what they did. Now, it might be a bit on the nose, but I'm sure they could find a way to make that interesting. The yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I am fascinated by the fact that she's going to be in the movie, and I am very excited to see where it goes. Let's see. What else is going on? Well, we haven't heard. Oh yeah, yep, yep. Captain Author says. Speaking of Sigourney Weaver, she was iconic in Galaxy Quest. Yeah, yeah, yes. Tiny Weaver. Yep, she was great. And repeating the computer and all that stuff. Yeah, and great, great stuff. Now, as far as the Star Wars movies coming up, it looks like the first um Ray Skywalker's Jedi Order. It looks like it's gonna happen. As I said, I'm gonna wait till it starts filming, and then I'll get excited because then I know that it's coming. My hope is that now that they've started filming Mandalorian, that this will propel them, or this will get the ball rolling so that they can start making these other movies too. But it looks like the Ray Skywalker movie will happen, at least I hope. And I'm excited for that because I mean I love Daisy Ridley, and I love to see where this goes. Uh, so hopefully, now that Mando and Grogu is underway, they can start moving with the other films. Captain Arthur says he loves Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters. Yes, absolutely. Laser says, wow, it took me a while to realize it was her in Galaxy Quest. Yeah, it's true. She's with the blonde hair and all that stuff. Not as easily recognizable. Captain Hopper says, I hope the Ray film happens, but I don't want it to be a saga film. Yes, it does make sense um, that the, I don't think it's going to be episode 10. And yeah, will it have a sequel? I don't know. I think it would be fun to just have this one film that tells this one story so that other films can come in and just tell individual stories. Now, what I really hope, and I think a lot of fans hope this, is that John Boyega returns to play Finn as one of the students of Ray, or maybe he's now a master. I would really hope John Boyega comes back. I don't want to get into it, but there was some stuff that I guess he was not happy about after the sequel trilogy ended. I hope that they've been able to patch things up and maybe convince him to return. So now the Captain Author says, I hope Finn is in the movie as a Padawan. He had so much more potential than he was allowed in the sequels. Yeah, I hope he returns and gets to play a major role. Um, I actually liked him in the sequels. I think Finn was a great character in the sequels. For me, it worked, all the stuff that they did with him. But it didn't work for everyone. And didn't work for, and it didn't work for John Boyega. So I would hope that whatever they give him to do if he were to come back, that he would be satisfied with so that he could come back. Captain Arthur says, some of the dark fandom was not so cool to Boyega. Yeah, there were some people who treated him pretty bad. It was bad. And the lady who plays Rose, I loved Rose. Yeah. I agree, Cap. I love Rose, Tico. And Kelly Marie Tran is awesome. So I I don't think we can do anything to stop the toxic people online. Now, I would like to say right up here that we cannot reason with them. You cannot talk them down. If they're being hateful, they're better to be ignored. But I think what needs to happen is the social media companies need to stop letting these things happen. I don't know what's going on at these social media sites, but the bigwigs need to do a better job of making sure that hate speech is not allowed to be posted. I think it's really up to them more than anything else. They need to change the way they do things so that we can stop, so that hate speech stops getting through. Let's see. Captain Arthur says, yeah, she is awesome. Talking about Rose. Wish she had more to do in The Rise of Skywalker. Yes, I agree that I wish she had more to do. I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently they filmed more scenes with her. But those scenes were with Leia. But apparently they couldn't get the recreation of Leia to look right, to look good on screen. So that's why those scenes were cut. I've heard that somewhere. I don't know if it's true or not. Um, which, by the way, speaking of actors who passed away, we lost the great Ray Stevenson shortly after they finished filming Ahsoka. Baylan Skoll is a great character. He stole the show in Ahsoka. Now, there's a report going around. We have to take this with a grain of salt, but I hope it's true that they're going to recast the character. I would like that because I think that Baylan's story was too important for them just to end it because the actor died. I wouldn't want them to just end it. I wouldn't want them to CGI it. That would be kind of ridiculous to do the deep fake thing again. So I think recasting makes the most sense. Um, Captain Author says he hopes it's Leah Schreiber. Yes, Leah Schreiber. Um, I could totally see in this Baylan. So that's exciting. Yeah. Leah, it's Leah's, I think. So yeah, no, I think that would be a really good choice to do that. Pardon me for just a second. But ser- Sorry, folks, I'm trying to get my phone to work here. But yeah, no, I think that recasting makes the most sense. Yeah, so that's yeah, I hope that they're gonna do that. So Captain Author is asking, will we get season 2 of Ahsoka for sure before the movie? Um, wow, that's a good question. So we are going to get, uh, or at least they announced it at. No, well, which movie I think is the question. Because if you're talking about the Mandalorian, or are you talking about Dave Filoni's end of the Mandoverse movie? Regardless, I think we're going to get season 2 of Ahsoka before the Mandoverse movie. But I don't think we're going to get season 2 before the Mandalorian movie, if that makes sense. Um, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so that's a good question. Um, by the way, I just rewatched the Ahsoka show, and I had forgotten how good it was. I really like the fantasy vibe to Ahsoka. It's very Lord of the Rings. It's very Lord of the Rings with wolves and witches and the Witch Kingdom capital looks like Minas Tirith and many, many other fantasy elements to it. And of course, if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. But something big, make sure you go and watch it. It's good stuff. Something big happens at the end that is probably going to be pretty important moving forward. So, we got another question here from Captain Hoffer. He says, is season 4 of Mando going to happen? Or just the movie? Um, there hasn't been an official statement, as far as I know, from Lucasfilm. Um, I think I heard somewhere that season 4 is going to happen after the movie. Uh, I know that there was talk of maybe season 4 was reworked into a movie, but I'm not entirely sure how that's all going to play out. When it all comes down to it. The so there's still a lot of questions um about how this is all going to play out. Um, so I don't know. I don't know, but I trust that they know what they're doing, and we'll see what happens. The one of the the Mandalorian, I gotta say, it's really extraordinary, and I'm a little bit bummed, a little bit, that season 3 was not as loved as the other two seasons. I think that if season 3 had come out right after season 2, it probably would have been very well liked, or more liked than it was. Um, but Book of Boba Fett came out, which I think is great, or I think it's good at least. But that didn't really get as a lot of love. Obi-Wan, which I still think is almost fantastic. I'll say that. And there are a few things in Obi-Wan that I didn't like, but overall I thought it was great. And then Andor. So basically, I think that season 3 of Mando was fighting an uphill battle because there had been two shows that had gotten real divided opinions. And then Andor, which everyone loves, including myself. Then Mando season 3 comes out, and I think because there had been some stuff that people didn't like, and particularly a show that they all said was amazing, Mando season 3 was fighting an uphill battle because it was being compared to Andor. And there had already been some jaded opinions after Book of Boba and Obi-Wan. Um, but, and I'm not here to really say who's right and who's wrong. I just rewatched Andor recently too. Andor is, I think I can say this without hyperbole. Andor is one of the greatest things I've ever seen on streaming. The only thing that I saw that was a streaming show that I watched that I would put close to Andor was The Watchmen. Uh, I'm sure that there are other streaming shows that you could also include if you wanted to. Like, but for me personally, now Andor is great, is excellent. It's pretty much a masterpiece. But I love the other shows too. And the reason I point that out is that I'm not of the opinion that every Star Wars show should be like Andor. Because that would be terribly depressing. So, just throwing that out there. I think that I'm very excited for Andor season 2. And I wonder, so Andor season 1 takes place before Star Wars Rebels. Andor season 2 is going to take place during Rebels timeline. So my question is, will any characters from Rebels show up on Andor? And I think that I know that Andor season 1 didn't have a lot of crossover. Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera were there. Yularen was there. But in terms of crossing over directly with other Star Wars, Andor stayed away from it. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to avoid crossovers this time because of the time period. Um, but I think if anyone from Rebels shows up, I think Hera is a likely candidate. Mary Elizabeth Winstead could return as live action Hera. Maybe a couple other like minor characters from Rebels, maybe some of the major characters. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of appearances, but there definitely will, and they said this, be appearances of Rogue One characters. Probably General Draven, uh, Captain Merrick, or General Merrick, the mustachioed X-Wing pilot, and a few others that we saw in um, Rogue One will probably appear. So it should be interesting. Now, one thing that I think makes sense is in Rebels, we saw Mon Mothma need to be rescued basically by the ghost and taken to a place where she would officially announce the creation of the Rebel Alliance. We saw this happen in Rebels. I believe the episode was called Secret Cargo or Precious Cargo. Well, now that we have a little bit of context from Andor as to what was going on Coruscant with Mon Mothma, the opportunity of season 2 of Andor is to show what happened on Coruscant that made Mon Mothma have to leave. Now, Mon, in the episode of Rebels, had given an inflammatory speech accusing the Emperor basically a genocide of the people on the planet Gorman. Now, what's interesting is Gorman was mentioned in Andor in that Mon was trying to work on saving the people of that planet. So basically, at some point, the Emperor is going to massacre a bunch of the people in Gorman. Mon Mothma, in that episode of Rebels, gives this big speech against Palpatine. As a result, she has to leave Coruscant. Or escape, I should say, while the Empire is hunting her. So the opportunity in Andor Season 2 is to give us a little bit of the background of what happens to Perrin and Lita. What happens to Mon Mothma's family? Are they killed, or do they choose the Empire? But maybe we're going to see Mon giving this speech in the Senate and then having to flee. And that's our tie into Rebels. Because, like I said, Andor Season 2 and Rebels take place at the same time. Let's see. Captain Other says Andor Season 2 may be my most anticipated Star Wars show right now. Season 1 was so good, and the sets and the score were epic. Yeah, absolutely they were. Absolutely. Captain Other, I was talking about the crossover between the two. He hadn't thought about that. That's interesting. And Captain Author speaks for all of us when he says, I don't trust her husband. Perrin is, yeah, he's a shady fellow. Maybe he'll turn around, but I doubt it. And he seems more interested in living the high life than anything else. And then Lita, oh boy. They left us on a cliffhanger with that one. With the whole meeting up with oh man, what is the guy's name? Devil Skulden, yes. Meeting Devil Skulden's son in like a arranged marriage type thing, which oddly enough, Lena seems to be into, which is kind of terrifying. Anyhow, the we'll see where that goes. I'm very interested though to see where we go next? I have seen a picture that they showed at Celebration of Cassian Andor at a party on Coruscant. With wearing a nice suit, with his hair slicked back, probably doing some kind of undercover James Bond style stuff for the rebellion. It'd be interesting to see the moment if and when Andor meets Mon Mothma. That'd be kind of interesting. Now, I know that they haven't been doing a lot, or Andor season 1 didn't have a lot of um, crossover with the other shows. Now, my big question for me is Emperor Palpatine going to appear? Can you imagine how chilling it would be to have Mon Mothma meet with Palpatine, and he's kind of onto her? Wouldn't that be something? Kevin playing like a cat playing with yarn. Palpatine sort of toying with Mothma. Mothma has been openly critical of the Emperor because, as she says, I'll show you the rock in my hand and you won't notice the knife at your throat. Basically, Mothma is a distraction. Then people won't see that she's got something more devious going on. It would be very interesting to have Ian McDermott return again as Palpatine and have this meeting between the two of them where we are on the edge of our seats. I don't know if they will, but it would be kind of interesting. Captain Arthur says, I'd love to see that. Yeah, so that's rather interesting. And I don't know. I don't want to set myself up for disappointment if I don't see those things. But I trust that the showrunners know what they're doing. Now, I had a thought about Luthen Rail, our favorite monologuing pessimist. Luthen is very pessimistic and nihilistic. I mean, not really, but he kind of is. But it's interesting to me, is Luthen Rail going to die in season 2? Now, I have a feeling, and I don't know, I can't I can't prove it. But I think that Luthen maybe won't die. I almost have this idea that Luthen, as we saw, seems to basically have a death wish. It's almost like he wants to die in the fight. Wouldn't it be interesting if he doesn't? I don't know what would be worse for him, dying or living. It would be interesting if he kind of had to live and he didn't get his death wish. And eventually it's just a matter of Luthen going, well, I'm out. Or maybe Cassian basically talking sense into him and saying, hey man, I know you want to die, but how about you live? I don't know. I do not know what's going to happen there. I would almost want Luthen to live just so he could not get his wish and discover that there's more to existence than dying for a cause. Maybe I'm wrong. I do agree with Captain Arthur here. Luthen stole the show, yes. Andor was an intense and suspenseful show. Oh my, I remember watching the final episode. Daughters of Therex. Great episode. I was on the edge of my seat. I mean, obviously, literally, I can't be on the edge of my seat. But I was, like, terrified that somebody was going to die horribly. I was afraid that Bix was going to die. Or that Vel and what's Vel's girlfriend's name? Cinta. Cinta, yes. I was afraid that Vel and Cinta were going to die. I was afraid that Brasso was going to die. By the way, don't we all love Brasso? Don't we all need a friend like Brasso? Oh, Captain Arthur was worried about D2 emo, yeah. Notice, by the way, when the Imperial officer tried to knock over B2 emo, that's when the crowd attacked. Yes, because we love B2 that much. Or B, as he's called. I was very glad that really nobody died. I mean, yes, uh, Martha did, but she really gave the Empire what for, even in death. Even in death, she gave them what for. All right, folks, we have our first guests on the show. So first of all, we'll bring her in. Very good friend of mine. Adelia Chamberlain, who is the one of my favorite people on the internet, and a great part of the Let's Get Ready network, as well as Passion Fruit. And if you're not following these channels, do yourself a favor. Here she is. It's Adelia. Hey, Adelia.
Hi, Brennan. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How's the stream been going? Sorry I couldn't be here before.
Well, we've been getting a very interactive chat.
That's good.
The Captain Opera and Laser Wolf and J Dub and Boop is really cool. Um, and here in the chat we have Brandy. Thank you, Brandy. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, happy early birthday, Brennan.
Thank you. Yep, 2 weeks away. 1 day less than 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I was mentioning at the top of my show that it's actually my sister's birthday today.
Oh,
So I gave a shout out to her.
nice.
She's just younger than me by 2 years. So, but yeah. So how you doing?
Doing good. Been a pretty long day, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. Anything you wanted to talk about specifically?
I don't know what's been going on.
Well, are you excited for Andor season 2?
I'm very excited for Andor season 2. I love the first season of Andor.
Yeah, me too. It's intense stuff, though.
Yeah.
I was saying at the top of the show that I'm glad that we get Skeleton Crew first.
Yeah, I'm
So
looking forward to that too.
We can kind of get something fun and entertaining. And then we can get the heavy stuff.
Yeah, Andor's definitely seems like it will be much heavier than Skeleton Crew, but
Oh boy, yeah.
we'll see.
Were you a fan of Rogue One when it came out?
Yes.
How would you? Is that like? So would that be your favorite of the modern Star Wars?
It's probably my favorite of the Disney era Star Wars movies, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good choice. I mean, and then we're seeing it in a full theater opening day. It's
Yeah,
pretty cool. I'm excited that they've announced that some of the characters from Rogue One will be returning to Andor.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Like General Draven, General Merrick, some of the other minor characters.
Isn't Alan Tudyk supposed to be back as K2SO as
Yes,
well?
yes, he is.
Which I can't wait for that.
By the way, I love Alan Tudyk.
He's great.
I love him in Firefly and all the various things he's done. But K2SO is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, let's see. We have another guest to join us. I never know what this guy's going to say.
Neither do I.
Friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine. We have quite a few great conversations. Also from the Let's Get Ready Network. It's Hollywood Hambone, Justin Hamilton. Oh, let me click the right button here. And here he is. It's Justin.
Thank you.
Hello, Justin.
What's up? I heard you talking about like Andor and stuff like that. We do have Skeleton Crew coming up first. I just hope to have like a fun time, man.
Yeah.
I just want to have a fun time in Star Wars. Just make it a fun ride. That's all I want for that. Doesn't have to be the most important thing ever. And ironically, I think the fact that Andor, they went and got a Tony Gilroy's, he's done it before, he's got experience and everything else. And I think because of the fact that this character Andor is a character, we know where he ends up at, it doesn't seem like as important, you know what I'm saying? Not that it can't be a great show, but as far as a character goes, that he's not as important as, like I say, Obi-Wan, obviously, or something like that. That I think that Lucasfilm and stuff let my man do his job.
Yeah.
And I think he did a great job.
Yeah,
I don't
agree.
think they were like, we got a lot of pressure on this, that we've got to go make sure everything's done right and stuff. And I really think they got out of his way. They let that guy go out there with his experience, Tony Gilroy, and do a show. And he did a great show.
Yeah, and he knows what he's doing. Very
Yeah,
clearly.
it's the best show that, to me, it's the best show that they've done for Star Wars so far. Now that's with me. I'm not like a total hater, because I like the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian as well.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty high up there. So I'm not just saying that because I think it's the only good one. I'm actually ranking it up there at the top, because, and I actually do think that Disney has done a decent job with a couple of the other shows.
Yeah.
And everything else. Like, I just think they're trying to find their footing. And that's what because we just watched Agatha.
Yeah.
And my thing with Disney Plus is I really do think that they don't know how to make shows yet. They jumped into something that they wasn't used to doing as like an actual studio.
It's a fairly new playing field.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think because of that, we're seeing the growing pains. And I do think that they will approve, but it's going to take some time. You know, I remember when Max back in the day was making stuff that may not be the greatest and everything else, but then they started putting out banger after banger. They did like The Sopranos and then The Wire, and then they just started hitting up on it.
So my favorite thing they've done.
You can't beat sometimes experience. Sometimes you hit that magic button and you get someone new that comes in and they can do the magic and do the thing. But we'll see. Star Wars does need a win. We need a win.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I think Skeleton Crew has a chance, so I hope it does its thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited the most for any of the movies would be the one that they Mango, the one that Mango is supposed to be in charge of, Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited for that. I hope he hits a banger with that one, because he's a good director and he's done some really super great movies. And I hope they get out of his way. I hope they get out of his way like they did Tony Gilroy. And I'm excited for Andor season 2.
Yep.
So we got some things on the docket, and I think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie can be fun, can be entertaining. Yeah, I'm not so excited about it, but hey, man, I think they can do a thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it can be also a win.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so.
Adelia, which of the movies are you the most excited about?
Probably that Dawn of the Jedi one, just because it's something I've never seen. I've never read those Legends books that go all the way back that far or anything. So it's going to be something completely new for Star Wars that I've never experienced. And that's sort of what I think they're kind of needing, because the sequel trilogy was a lot of rehashing the original trilogy.
It's true.
And I think that sort of turned a lot of people off, because we've seen this stuff before. And it wasn't a very good remake of what we've already seen before. So
I'm going to get super nerdy. I'm going to become what Adelia becomes when you talk about Lord of the Rings. Okay. There technically is a Dawn of the Jedi like book out there and stuff. What I will say is this is the secret formula that you have to come up with. Okay. You do a story that's not exactly like that, because I don't think that book's like super. I mean, nobody ever talks about it that much, but it's not like the greatest book of all time, right? But you take some elements, you use those in this new story, maybe even with some newer characters. But come on, man, there's certain things you have to do, you have to set up. One of them starts falling to the dark side, and he's really not like ultimately. He doesn't think of himself as like a dark side character. He just thinks that he's doing something differently that's still good.
No, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like, I don't know if anybody out there has seen Transformers 1. I just did. I'm going to be doing a review on that on channel.
Sort of a Megatron Optimus Prime kind of
Megatron
thing.
In this story thinks he's doing something good.
Yeah.
Right? Like he doesn't think he's doing something bad. And
it all starts with that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But there are some things that you could lead into that would get people super excited. Like some of the first ever like Sith Lords.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing that could just like, man, I'm telling you, the hype could be boundless, but you've got to do it right and be respectful. Like that's the biggest thing. And I think James Mangold, I haven't seen him. Like his weakest thing he's done recently has been the last Indiana Jones movie.
Well, we could have a debate on that, but I've only seen it once. So
yeah, but like three movies before that, he had all out of the park. Boom, 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 boom. Right, like Ford v Ferrari, movies like that everybody loved, was highly touted. And I think he just kind of got thrown into the Indiana Jones thing, right? And so maybe that was some of the things and some of the issues that movie could have had. But you also had a blown up budget. It's going to be looked at as a failure because it almost cost you like $400 to $500 million to make, which means you had to make $1 billion.
So.
Yeah, you would have to make $1 billion film to even break even at that point, to even start making money. So the problem with some of that stuff is you inflate those budgets and they still kind of look like a failure because they lost money, even if a lot of people saw it, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but ideally, the one of the things that I know fans have been talking about that we haven't gotten announced yet is Old Republic content.
Mm-hmm.
Like armies of Jedi fighting armies of Sith. Would you be into that if they were to announce that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's different. Like they've just gotten into this pattern of just like doing the same sort of stuff. And I think it's been slightly broken with the TV shows, but even the TV shows are now kind of doing the same sort of stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, because I don't know what Bob Iger's up to over there, but
and
he's
so
like, let's just do the same thing. It's like,
yeah. So I think they need to do something completely different, but still be Star Wars. And there's lots of places they could go to be completely different and still be Star Wars. They could go way in the past with the Old Republic, or they could go way in the future.
That's true. That's true.
See, I'm not a genius, people. I'm just going to let you know, because what I'm about to say,
oh boy,
might sound like I'm one, but I don't think I am, right? I got my education in Alabama. And part of it in Mississippi. So like two of the worst states for education, okay? Right there, banged all into one. But if I would have been in charge of Star Wars when Disney bought it, let's say I'm the leader, the one thing that I do is I do a sequel trilogy like they did. Maybe I don't do the exact story that they did, but I do a sequel trilogy. That'd be the first thing that I get started. All right, guys, work on this sequel trilogy. That's going to be the first movie. We're going to start a new trilogy with some new characters mixed in with the old. Let's get it working on. But my next thing is I would have went directly to the Old Republic. And there's a reason for that. The fandom got irritated. There are some people that still hold grudges against Disney because they made their favorite stories not real anymore. Called them legends. They're not part of the canon. And if you would have jumped into it directly after you said that, right? Because I agree with what they did. Okay. I agree for them to make them that.
Me too.
But the preface is we did that because we don't want to make everything exactly like it, but we are going to use some of it. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I would have been tempted to do the Thrawn trilogy as my new sequel trilogy. Okay. Now I may have changed some characters up, which allowed them to be able to do something like that.
I would love that.
Then I would have went and started an Old Republic, like maybe even to start at the beginning, like Dawn of the Jedi movie, and start right there. And what I would have did was I'd have rotated them. So 1 year you got the new sequel stuff, right? The stuff that happens after what we know from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Then the next year, maybe like a year and a half or so between, I would have went back in time and did like an Old Republic film. And I would have kept that in a rotation, and I would have got myself like accustomed to that and the team to be accustomed to that right there. And and I would have went back and forth. And I do think you would have brought some of those people that got mad because you made their stuff not canon anymore. Because the thing that Disney's trying to do, which makes it harder for them, is you have the Thrawn like trilogy out there. A lot of people love. You bring Thrawn in and you do something different with him, and then people's going to complain. Well, you made my favorite stories not canon, and then you brought him in here and he ain't the same, right? So you're just asking for trouble when it comes to that. But I do think, like, forethought, I think that I don't think Disney's done everything bad, right? Like, so Thrawn, I didn't care for him as much in the Ahsoka show. I thought there were some problems. Then, but I do think that Thrawn's in the timeline he would have been during his trilogy now. And if they were smart, they actually do what they could have did to begin with. They basically use Thrawn in the timeline that he would have been in the stories from the old canon and use that stuff now, right? And it would make sense. Maybe they even had somewhat of a plan. They just didn't execute it very well, because it makes sense, because Thrawn was going around trying to find like something to bring the Emperor back and stuff like that in his trilogy and stuff, right? There's all these things that are going on. Like, he's trying to find these things. So it makes sense for him to be in this time period before like Snoke and Plague, and before Snoke and the Emperor comes back, to be setting up things that possibly brings the Emperor back, right? So it does even make sense there. But don't make it new. Don't make it brand new. Shock the world, people. Like, you have a setup here. The Mando and Grogu movie should be setting up the beginning of a story with Thrawn and how he's trying to progress the Empire.
I imagine it probably will to some degree.
So, like, but it can be interesting. They can do a good job with it if they want to and put their minds to it. But like I said, I would have done something from the very beginning to give something to the fans of the old EU, and I would have showed them that, hey, man, we hear you. We understand your complaints. But guess what? We're going to do those stories. We just didn't want to be tied to every single thing that those stories had, right? We're wanting to be able to change a couple of things. And I think the fans would have jumped on it. I think more and more fans. Like I said, I think some of the people that hate on Disney Star Wars, not all, but some, are holding on to that hate. They grew up reading the X-Wing series, or they grew up reading Thrawn trilogy and Plagueis and these other books.
By the way, the Thrawn trilogy is my favorite Legends stuff.
I love Bane. I even love the story about Revan, not even through the games, but through the story of the games is awesome.
Story was really interesting.
But like, there's some cool stuff over there, and they just kind of tossed it to the side, and it's like, come on, man. And some people still harbor that grudge, you know what I'm saying? Because like, you got to think about it. I don't blame them. You spent years reading those stories and loving them. To have somebody come in, buy the product, and say they don't count. And you're like, whoa. Because like, think about it. Like, like with Adelia with Lord of the Rings, she spent a lot of time, a lot of energy. She literally watches the longest movies in history, either at least once a year or multiple times a year.
Once a month.
But here we go. Like, once a month, for God's sakes. That's even more time she spends on this.
Even more than I do, which is
exactly the love she has for that. Pretend like someone came in and bought the franchise, like got all the rights to it, and said, hey guys, those great movies, even some won awards, they don't count no more.
Yeah, that would be kind of bad.
Tolkien's books, don't go buy them anymore. Like, Adelia would be mad as hell. Possibly even if they made a good movie.
She'd be happy that Tom Bombadil was no more. But, you know.
Not my favorite character, Tom Bombadil.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, Adelia, what do you think about the way they portrayed Tom Bombadil in Rings of Power?
I think they have made him not as annoying as he actually is. I've actually liked the way that Tom Bombadil's been portrayed. Not sure how much more we're going to see of him this season.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think just having those little doses of him, not like having a whole episode about Tom Bombadil, has really helped with his annoyance levels.
Well, I agree. I mean, Bombadil has always been, since the books came out, an enigma to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Of what's the point of this character? And I still don't know. I think I like him more than you do, but it wouldn't have worked in the live action movies.
No, it wouldn't.
But I think Tom. That Tom is an interesting character that I don't think anyone quite understands.
Listen,
I'm glad there's been less songs.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that he kind of sings quietly to himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't go prancing along singing loudly.
I love Tom. You want to know why?
Why?
Yep.
I am now 44 years old, so I'm old as hell. Okay. Sometimes, especially if I'm watching a longer show, I gotta go take a pee break. Tom comes on, I get to go take a pee. That's, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, boom, time to go. It's like certain parts of a movie. It's like I know it. It's like, oh yeah, wait, they're about to take some time. I don't really have to. I get to in the movie theaters. I get to run to the bathroom real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Send all your complaints to the Let's Get Ready Network.
I'm just joking. He actually isn't that bad. I didn't know. I don't. But see, I don't in this particular realm. I can't get super sweaty like I can with Star Wars because I don't know Lord of the Rings as much. So I don't know like who he really is supposed to be. I'm fine with his character.
I read the books a bazillion times and I still don't know.
Yeah, but I don't hate his character. I don't think he's that bad, Adelia, but I think Adelia's going by off what she knows from the lore and stuff. So she's happy he's just not as annoying as he can be. But I didn't even know he was supposed to be annoying. I just don't care as much for the plot point of the story, like the that story arc that's going on right now. Like when it comes on, it's not because of him or anything, but it's just like I'm not as interested in the Harfoots and stuff, as interested as I'm in the rest of the show.
How dare you? No, just disrespecting Harfoots for sure.
Hey man, the Harfoots just remind me of Ewoks, and it pisses me off sometimes.
I mean, they're very different, Justin.
Justin is hit the trigger.
No, I actually like Ewoks.
We're not going to go there.
I like Ewoks, man. They eat people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. That's the thing about Ewoks is, as cute and cuddly as they are, they eat people.
Yeah. Yeah, they freak me, man.
They're like my nieces and nephews. Like, no.
Yeah, you need to be careful if you go to one of their barbecues. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you know, it's interesting that the mystery of Bombadil, because even Tolkien never really said what he was.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mystery. So, Adelia, is it true that you watch Lord of the Rings trilogy every month?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I take a weekend every month and I will watch the Hobbit movies back to back to back on the Saturday, and I will watch the Lord of the Rings movies back to back to back on the Sunday, and the extended editions too. I don't even own the theatrical edition.
Yeah, me too. No, you beat me in Lord of the Rings trivia.
I did.
By 1 point one time.
I did.
So it's a very close match.
It was very close. Us and Marisol McKee was in that match.
Yeah,
and
Marisol,
Video Drew and Nerd Chronic hosted it on their channel. So
yeah, I miss those days.
I miss those days too.
Now the Hobbit films, I have to admit, I've seen all three of them.
They're not as good.
I've seen The Unexpected Journey many times. The other two, not so much.
Yeah. They're not as good.
They don't quite work for me.
No, they don't work at all.
Oh, by the way, Laser in the chat.
Rematch?
Yeah.
We're going to have to get someone to write the questions for that.
Yeah, and Brandy says, of course, that Poppy and Nori.
Poppy and Nori are great.
Yeah. Yes. See, here goes the thing. I might not like as much of their. I understand. Look, Poppy and Nori, I don't think are bad characters. I don't even think the Stranger is a bad character. I don't even think like Tom is a bad character. I'm sorry, but their part of the story's kind of been boring.
Not
You
much.
know what I'm saying? Like compared
in this season, yes.
Yeah, exactly. In this season, like exactly. But like
in this season, yes.
But nah, man, I'm down for that. Orc action. I'm down for that. Battle's about to come up. I'm down for like why the rings being made. Like they don't have no part of that. So
I gotta say, I mean, this guy who plays Anatar, I forget his name,
Charlie Vickers,
is amazing.
He's so good.
Season.
He's so good.
He is so good. And also, by the way, Charles Edwards, who plays Celebrimbor,
oh, he's been fantastic.
Really
too.
took off in this season. I'm afraid of what's going to happen to him. Eventually, who knows?
Yeah.
I'll ask you this, Brennan.
Yes.
Are you a big like Batman style fan?
Yeah.
You should definitely jump on the Penguin.
Yeah, I've heard it's good.
Right. Nah, man. I gave it. You know me. Oh, negative Nancy over here.
Well, I wasn't going to
gave that. I gave it. I gave that first episode a 9, son.
Wow.
Because I'm going to tell you, the Penguin character, and now I do think they portrayed it better in this season, and I think they're actually portraying it better as we move along this season as well. We got the master manipulator Sauron, bro.
Yep.
One episode, first season, Penguin, master manipulation.
Wow.
Oh my God, bro! It is.
Well, first off, I mean the makeup effects on Colin Farrell are extraordinary. Extraordinary transformation. Yeah, the Batman, it was so weird. Because The Dark Knight is my favorite Batman film. I didn't think anything was going to get close to that. And then The Batman came out. And I'm like, wow. This is incredible. So,
yeah, I actually think they did a good job. And I think one of the mistakes that James Gunn's doing already at the very beginning of this new DCU universe is not saying, because that Batman movie had nothing to do with the stuff before it.
Yeah.
Totally one-off movie.
Yep.
If that movie's good enough to start your franchise. That movie was done well enough, and I think Pattinson did a very good job as Batman. He's still younger.
He was
right.
Great.
He's not like super old, so he can still go for a little bit. I would have said this is my first movie in the new DCEU, and I would actually include this Penguin show because it actually ties in with the movie, the Batman.
Yeah,
so like he should have, to me, he should have signed that up and said, I'm including this, even if it wasn't supposed to be at first. I think he should have included that into the actual new DCEU, and I thought that would have gave it a good start.
I agree.
Yeah, because that I think is his first mistake.
The Batman is one of the best looking films in recent years.
Oh, Gotham is amazing, and the Batman, the only Gotham that I think beats the new Batman Gotham was I do like the old school. I do like the old school 89 Batman, the way they made Gotham as a character, but we didn't see that again until this latest Batman, the Batman. Because I do think the weakest part about Christopher Nolan, although that is probably one of the best trilogies out there ever.
Yeah,
I even liked the third one. Some people didn't like it as much, but I even like Bane and stuff in that. I was fine with it, but like the city had no character.
Yeah, it was just Chicago.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just like a random big city. That's all it was. But you really got the feel of Gotham to me watching the Batman. That's why I said I think that movie is good enough to start your new DCEU. Pattinson's a good enough Batman to start your Batman. Like he should have signed that up. He should have said, "Let's do this." Because, like I said, this show, The Penguin, knocked it out of the park, dude. I was not expecting anything. You know, I wasn't expecting to necessarily enjoy it or not, and bro.
So I gotta ask the big question of both of you. I have to ask your answer. Favorite Catwoman of all time? Adelia, you got a favorite?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
It's a good choice. She's a good choice. Justin?
I got to go with the same because at the time, man, she was hot. And I'm sorry, but for giving that the reason why I pick her. But man, dude, She was a good looking woman, and I thought she didn't do bad, and it fit the
Tim Burton style,
the Tim Burton style Batman, right? So like the way she played it and stuff like that, I liked it. I like a little bit of a craziness, but it only would work in a Tim Burton style Batman. But yeah, I think she's the best.
Randy agrees with you. Adelia, you were going to say something.
I was going to say shout out as well to Eartha Kitt, who played Catwoman in the Batman TV show in the 60s. She was amazing as well.
She was really good. I'm torn between Zoe Kravitz and Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm torn between the two of them. I mean, Michelle came first, so I could probably give it to her. But I mean, yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer was amazing. Oh gosh, Randy. Let me bring up this comment.
Oh God!
Halle Berry did good too.
See, this is a perfect example of toxic positivity here.
Toxic.
Because how in the hell could you see that movie? Listen, even Brendan's giving the you know what I'm saying? And Brendan don't like to hate on nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he always tries to find a positive in everything. Not that. Golly. I mean, Halle Berry's a cool person. Now, that's the thing, like, that gets me sometimes. Is whenever if I attack a character that's in a show, in a movie, I'm attacking the character. I'm not attacking the actress, right? That's the biggest thing. And some
wasn't Halle Berry's fault.
Yeah. Some people keep mixing those two things together.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, look, I did not like Ocean May in the Acolyte series. There's nothing against that lady that played on.
Nothing against Amanda.
That she did in that particular show, that particular character. That character is what I'm saying bad. She could be the coolest person in the world, out there giving all her money to charity and stuff. Like, that has nothing to do with like them as a person. Whenever you say something about a character in a show, and people keep acting like
he said he froze.
That didn't like Rose Tico in the Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people only attacked and said bad things about the character. They didn't come in and like attack. Now, of course, there are a couple of idiots that did. But I'm saying like 99% of those people didn't like the character and thought the character should have been better. Because most of the people that I heard complaining about the Rose Tico character would obviously say, look, man, this is all about the character. I thought the character should have been better, stuff like that. I didn't really care for the character. But the next thing, because of what kind of person she is and what people see, most people said right after that, they caveated it with, oh, she's a wonderful person, a sweetheart, right? She's like a really cool person, everything else.
It reminds me of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. When an episode 2 came out, people went after him. And it's like, it's not Hayden Christensen's fault. And now that he's come back to Star Wars, he's shown that he is a good actor. So it's not him.
Right. My thing is you can put sometimes a blame or a fault on something. There's movies that I've seen where I saw the actor and it just seemed to me they were phoning it in. There's some blame. Right. But there's some blame that you can put on things here and there that are actually on the actual actor. But I never attack people for people. I will always say my criticisms about the character on the screen. The only time I'll go after a person is if I think like, and I don't really go after people, but if I did, it would only be because they actually did something horrible or bad. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because sometimes, man, it's like you live your life. You can't be 100% all the time. So even when an actor or actress, whatever, like does something and I feel like they just didn't give their all, well, there might have been like bad things happening in their family. You know, they could have been sick. Their health might not have been the best.
The director might have been a jerk, or
all kinds of things, right? So, like, unless you legitimately do something bad, I'm not going to come at you as a person. But I think for some reason, everything we get criticized on's got to be personal, right? So it's like we do the show over at Let's Get Ready, and let's say someone comes in and they critique our show and say, well, you could have better this or better that. I don't take that personally because I'm like, well, yeah, we could possibly have this better and this better.
Yeah.
Right. We may have our excuse for it, but like that's different. But like some people would take that as a personal attack, and it's not a personal attack. That's not them like actually going at you as a person. And all these things have kind of blended, and people just like, oh, they don't like my movie, so they hate me. No, they just hate the movie you made, right? Or they don't like my character, or they don't like the show I'm on. Nah, man, they don't hate you as a person. They hate what you did on the show, or they hate your character in the show. So they don't think it was good. Okay, but that's not personal. That's a fake character. It's make believe. They just don't like that.
Yeah.
Like like I said, it's tougher and tougher to give people constructive criticism. I've noticed because it's like I've said this before, and the last time that I was on here with you, you can say that something has problems in a positive way. That doesn't mean that you have to be negative, right? That doesn't mean that you have to do a show on negativity and everything else. You can point out the negatives in a positive way, or you can point out those negatives in the negative way. And like I see so many people that won't even like say something even sort of bad and then be like, well, I just talk about positive. Well, that's kind of that's bad too. That's not being honest. That's not being true to yourself. If you're going to like set this other stuff aside and just ignore it. Look, I like a lot of bad things, man. And I will admit they're bad. Like, I don't like, I love Black Dynamite. Watched it with Brandy. She didn't like it very much. I understand why she didn't like it, right? But to me, it's great. I love it. It makes me laugh. But I am never going to say everything in that movie, or I'm never going to say that movie deserved Oscars, or it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
That would be just lying. There's obviously faults in the movie, but it's a kind of movie that I watch that I'm able to like throw those to a side and still enjoy it. You can enjoy all kinds of things. Well, you can have positivity.
That gets me thinking. So, dude, I'll start with you. Is there a movie that you know is bad that you enjoy anyway?
Yes.
What do you got?
It's a movie called Standing Still. It makes absolutely no sense.
Wow.
It has Amy Adams in it in a very early role.
Yeah.
I watched it and I watched it just the other day because it's just something about it I enjoy. It's a terrible movie. It's awful, but if I need to have like mindless, brainless, shut my mind off and just relax for an hour and a half, that's usually what I put on.
Nice. Justin, what do you got? What's a
bro? There's all kinds of things just because of the circumstances.
A guilty pleasure for you.
Like Ricky-O, the story of Ricky.
Oh.
It's crazy. But you know what? I watched it with some friends, man. Had the best time of my life. Still talk about it when I get together with those friends today. Like I said, I understand Brandy. A lot of people. If I showed Ricky-O to Brandy, oh my God.
Grease too, she says, or Crybaby.
I wouldn't hear the end of it if I showed that movie to Brandy. Ricky-O, the story of Ricky. I mean, do you even know what I'm talking about, Brandon? Because you said that your comment was like, oh, like you know about this movie.
I've heard many stories.
Right. So this movie's crazy. But it's like, it's that weird limit to where it made me, man, and my friends that night like have a great time. It was one of my best experiences watching a movie together with some friends. So I love it. But if I say I love that movie and somebody's like, well, that movie's trash, I'm gonna be like, well, I still love it. I understand that it's not the greatest movie and it's never gonna win an Oscar. And I just don't get why people gosh. Like, for one, pull up that comment right there.
Oh boy.
You shut your dirty mouth.
Oh boy.
That movie should have won an Oscar. Okay.
Oh.
We'll get that right there. That movie deserves an Oscar. You trying to act like it's a bad movie, but good?
Well, maybe not bad, but just kind of,
But no,
okay, you're gonna make Brandy watch Ricky out.
nah, probably not, because like it's kind of overboard.
Well, I'll tell you for me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
One of the greatest experiences I had watching a movie was in 2008 at Christmas. We were all at my uncle's house. We watched Van Helsing together because we like to watch movies that are so bad they make us laugh.
Yeah,
We laughed so hard during that movie. It is so bad.
It is. It very much
It's
is.
some of the most ridiculous overacting I've ever seen. Except for Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale were like stiff as wood.
They're in a
But
different movie.
everybody else was like overacting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That one just cracks me up.
bro,
The guy
I'm
who
gonna
plays Count
remember.
Dracula. It's so chewing the scenery.
I'm gonna remember that movie forever. Talking about Van Helsing. There's 3 movies in particular, actually. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
My friend farted in the theater.
Oh, great.
It was a super loud fart. It was only me, him, and his brother. No, actually, it was me, him, and his sister. And there were only 2 other people in the theater. He farted. I start laughing so hard, I'm like choking to death. As I'm doing that, I kind of look behind me because the people that were sitting there, the only other 2 people in there were sitting behind us a couple of rows back. I turned around and just happened to kind of look back that way and saw them like get out and walk out. They just left. So then it was just us 3 in there. But that moment will always make me remember that movie, and I always kind of like have. And unfortunately, that friend of mine passed away this past year. So like, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, nah, but in this moment, it's a good memory,
one of those
right?
special memories.
Yeah, it's a good memory. So like, I get it. Like I said, it's just we need. I think.
Don't push another 9.
But but that's a perfect like movie that you would say it's not perfect, but you enjoy it. A lot of people enjoy that movie. Like, there's no problem with enjoying it. I just want people to be honest, like more and more honest, whether like, because I see the same thing on both sides. Like I was joking with Brandy, like toxic positivity, but then you also just have the toxic haters out there that want to hate on everything for whatever reason, right? Because maybe it gets some more views or clicks, but then like on the other side, because I think both sides of this are lying, and we don't have enough people in the middle that just tell the truth. When I talk about a movie or a show, I will point out like a couple of bad things or things I don't like about it.
Yeah.
For instance, with Agatha, I'm at like a 6.5 for the show.
No, I haven't seen the latest episode, so
right. So, but I enjoy it so far. That's me enjoying it. That's not me loving it or anything, or thinking it's like a banger.
I'm in the same boat.
But that's me enjoying it, and I will point out. Right, but I'll point out the reasons why I don't like it as much as maybe some other people. And that's fine. Just be honest. Just tell your truth, man. And like, I just see so many people, like I said, whether it's on the negative or positive, that just won't tell the truth. And when I feel like you're lying to me, man, then you lose me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to be told the truth. I want you.
Speaking of Agatha, and you've got your Halloween hat on there.
Hell yeah, I do.
Because we're coming into spooky season.
Yes, we are.
I ask you, Justin, your favorite horror movie, or one that you'd like to watch every Halloween.
Bro, you realize how hard that is?
Yeah.
For one, I don't have one in particular go to 100% that I'll go to.
Mm-hmm.
Horror, the greatest thing about horror to me, and I've said this once or twice before, greatest thing about horror to me is has no rules.
It's true.
And when I say that, like literally no rules. You could be watching a comedy, but then one thing happens at the 55-minute mark that makes it a pure horror.
Yeah, it's true.
You could be watching a love story, same thing, horror.
Yeah.
Just on a flip of a switch, one thing happens. That's the coolest thing to me about horror, is because there are no rules. You go watch a comedy, it's got to try to make you laugh. You go watch an action movie, it's got to have action in it. You go watch a horror movie, it could be body horror, right?
Yeah.
It could be
ghost
psychological horror, ghost. It could be like all kinds of different like horror that could be happening to you. So it's almost no rules there, but it's literally no rules on what kind of movie you can make.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
You know, like, and that's what makes it like so good to me, is because there's so many options that you could dive into. Like, I would love to be like a horror director or something like that if I'd lived in Hollywood or something, would have had that little chance, of being around and being able to get out there and do things. I would have loved to done horror, because I would have done all these like crazy things because I'm allowed to, because it's horror. And it's not just about the scares and stuff to me all the time. It's like, how are you going to be creative this time? But it's like, and just all the different things. People are scared of almost everything. People are scared of being alone.
It's true.
All that. People are scared of not finding love, right? Like, so like even these things that may not be the scariest, like there's all kinds of things out there that scare people and they don't even recognize it, right? But it's like Alien movie, especially the first one's like that's you claustrophobic.
Yeah. Oh, very, very.
Yeah, the alien's scary, but the real scary part is you're trapped into a small area with something scary.
Killer.
Yeah, exactly. So like, that's why I love horror. But like some of my favorites, I love the hack and slashers of the 80s, man. You can put them all in one big group. Whether it's Halloween, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, we talking about Freddy Krueger. Another thing that I would do if I was like able to have the power and knew some people, I would literally, I've joked about this some before, but I literally would take Friday the 13th, not Friday the 13th, but Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, and turn it into a musical.
The Dream Warriors is a musical.
Dream Warriors, I would turn the Dream Warriors into a musical play.
And I could see that.
Like out there. But like, nah, man, there's a bunch of things, dude. I just love it. Like I said, but because of that, and there's so many options and stuff that I love about it, it's according on what I'm feeling around that time of Halloween, right? What I watch and what I go to.
Yeah.
If I'm wanting to touch that little member berry, you know what I'm saying, for me, I will go to like the 80s slashers. But then there's some of this new stuff that I like to go to as well, like go back and revisit like movies and stuff. So like pretty damn awesome and pretty damn fast. But shoot, man, like it's just so hard for me to pick. That's the one thing. Like picking horror, just like the top one. Like usually when I pick my top movies, I don't even put horror in it on purpose.
Interesting.
Like my top 3 movies of all time that I've seen, Empire Strikes Back's up there in the top 3, Silence of the Lambs, and Seven. But like both of those movies technically can be horrific, but I wouldn't necessarily call them horror. They're just dark thrillers. But I almost don't put horror in there when I'm speaking about that, because a lot of times, just like I said earlier, a lot of horror movies aren't the best made movies.
It's true.
But they're still fun. They're still entertaining to enjoy.
Yeah, I agree.
So like, that's one of the things, right? I mean, like if you wanted to pick a movie that you would put up there in the high ranks as far as being a good made, solid quality movie with a good, solid quality story, like a lot of people will throw like The Shining in there.
Yeah.
One of the classics. I'll throw I wished I could show the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre to people. And it is very gruesome and very hardcore.
Very.
But the guy who made that movie, the cinematography, like the camera shots and stuff in there, is actually like really well done.
Yeah.
Like when you sit back and look at it. Super good. But like, man, I like a lot of those things. But like it's easier for me to say, what's your favorite Freddy movie? What's your favorite Jason movie?
What is your favorite Freddy movie?
It's actually the Dream Warriors. That's my favorite.
It's a good choice.
My favorite Jason is I think it's either 6 or 7. I think it's 7. I might be wrong though, but it's the one where the girl has telekinesis.
Yeah.
She can like move things. I love that Jason Voorhees. I love that Friday the 13th. My favorite Michael Myers is actually the first one. I think that was solid.
A masterpiece.
But yeah, like I could go through and name my favorite out of those series, but it's just so tough putting them together.
Yep, Dream Warriors. Adelia, to quote the movie Scream, what's your favorite scary movie?
She can't watch them.
I don't watch very many scary movies. I don't like horror movies at all. But the
what do
one
you like
movie
to
that I
watch
will
in it? Go
consistently
ahead.
watch at Halloween is Only Lovers Left Alive.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
vampire
Okay.
film starring Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton, and I love it. I
Wow.
just watch it
Yes.
every year.
Now, even though the movie may not be a horror movie, I would ask you a different question, knowing that you don't like horror. Is what is the scariest movie you ever actually watched?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like you didn't go into it thinking it was going to be scary, but then it turned out to be like
No,
scarier than you thought.
Or
it's
you knew
definitely
what you were getting
it's
into.
definitely a horror movie. The scariest movie I've ever watched is I Know What You Did Last Summer when I was
Oh,
a
okay.
teenager. I will
Okay.
never watch another movie like that ever
You're
again.
not missing much.
No.
No, yeah, I mean, so, like, what are your so you said that only lovers left alive, but or only did I say that right? Yes, I did.
Yeah, Only Lovers Left Alive.
What's another thing that you like to watch every Halloween, or just like, it doesn't even have to be
Hocus
scary.
Pocus. Hocus
Okay,
Pocus up
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um,
I have to admit, I'm not a fan of that movie, but that's just me.
it just reminds me of being a kid.
Uh,
I haven't seen the second one yet, the
yeah,
sequel. I
yeah.
need to watch that. Probably the movie that I have watched that has made my anxiety the highest ever
Oh,
was The Last King of Scotland.
oh, yeah.
That was horrifying to
Meat
watch.
hooks. That's all you gotta say. Meat hooks.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I like literally I had to take anxiety medication after I watched that movie.
Oh, it's
But
Randy
Forrest
being
Whitaker was
silly in the
brilliant in
chat.
it.
Randy in the chat.
I have
Okay.
blocked that movie from my memory. So
But you're right. Forrest Whitaker was fantastic.
yeah, James
He's
McAvoy was also great in that movie.
Yeah.
But I'll
Yeah, for
never watch
me,
it again.
well, yeah, I gotcha. My favorite horror film is Alien.
Yeah.
Nice.
The original one. It is so good. It's a
Did you watch the new one?
in space.
Was you able to
Yes,
go
I
watch
did.
the new one?
Yes, I did.
Did you appreciate it, or
I did for the most part. Yes, I did.
I gave it a solid like 7.5.
Yeah, no, I would too.
I think Fede Alvarez did a great job. Was very like the only thing that I hear people pushing back on was like his creative choice with the new kind of creature that he ended up having at the end of it. But like, I'm not going to do too many spoilers. But I'm like, how can you hate on that? It's like literally a new thing, a new design they're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
The only thing
you might not like it or think it was cool, but like, I mean, you can't hate on it. Like, yeah, that was a choice for them to make, but I don't sit back and go, oh, everything's ruined because I don't like the design of this new thing that you did. Like, you're taking chances, man. But I thought Fede Alvarez made that movie freaking awesome.
He did a great job. The only thing I didn't like about the movie was the deep fake Ian Holm thing. The deep fake android thing he did with Ian Holm's face. I wasn't big on that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of those things, though.
That's a technical problem.
Yeah, it's not like what he did in the movie or what that character did, the android, and it makes sense for the android to be there. But I'm fine with it. Like those kind of things, it's got to be really super bad. I tell you, Paranormal Activities, especially that first one,
you will never get me to watch that.
The first three are awesome. Hey, Brennan, you can actually agree with this. Maybe what I say here may change your mind on being able to watch that movie.
Sleep again.
I've got a friend of mine that can watch horror movies all day long, but when it comes to paranormal, when it comes to like that kind of thing, demons and stuff like that, he's out. Scares the shit out of him.
Well, demons don't love it, and the ghost stories kind of scare me.
But like even with the ghosts and stuff, right? Like, but he's like, man, I can't deal with that.
Yeah, I would never sleep again if I watched paranormal.
He asked me one time, man, how can you sit there and watch those things, man, and not bother you at all? And straight up, my answer was, well, if I looked over there across the way and I saw, and his big thing was like, because like technically Paranormal Activity is not really about ghosts, it's actually about a demon that's like attached to this family.
That's true. That's true.
So like, I was like, if I look over there across the way and behind the bush see a demon, 100% in a split second, God's real. No matter how much we believe in God and all this other stuff, like whatever your beliefs are, like it's really super tough as human beings to get to 100%.
It's true.
I look across the way and see a demon. It's got to be a God. And one of the reasons why I think about that is a movie that's technically not, I wouldn't call it horror, but it's The Devil. It's done by M. Night Shyamalan. At least he was a producer. He might not have directed it, but he did at least produce it. But it's about these people that are trapped in an elevator, and it's like this weird thing that happens so often. At the very beginning of the story, it's about a mom telling her kids this story, and it's about like this instance where the devil kind of comes down to earth and does something to claim a soul and everything else. Well, these people, it's happening in this elevator. At the very end of the movie, the guy, so there's this guy, one of the guys in the elevator, they all did something bad. And this one guy did a hit and run that killed the actual cops that's trying to save him, killed his family, done a hit and run, right? They're in the car together and they're driving away. And it's the best movie I've ever seen about forgiveness. Because the guy driving the car is the cop that this guy killed his family. And he found out that during this whole like movie that they're intermingled. And he says, I thought so many times what I would say to you in this moment. I thought about it long and hard. All the things I would say. And he looks back at him through like the rearview mirror because he's driving and the guy's looking at him. And he just says, I forgive you. Because that let him go on. But as soon as he says that, the end of the movie, the narrator, I can't remember his name, but he's like Hispanic. But the narrator of the movie that talks about the end, and he says, so when I would tell people my mom would tell us this story as a bedtime story, they couldn't believe it. They'd say, why would your mom tell you such a story before bed? And his mom, and he said, my mom would always say, if there's a devil, there has to be a God.
Interesting.
There you go. It's a simple logic. Like, so I told him, I was like, bro, if I saw that over there, then I know there's the good opposite thing to counteract it, because there can't be one without the other. That's why I'm never scared of that stuff. That's why none of that stuff ever bothers me. I want to go. Brandy lives like down the street from the Lizzie Borden house. I want to go stay in. It's a bed and breakfast now, Brandon. I want to go stay in it.
Oh yes, Lizzie Borden. Oh boy. So Adelia, I take it that horror is not really your thing.
No, horror's not really my thing at all. The other horror movie that I've seen that I just thought was really super weird was M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
Oh yes. Oh,
that one's super weird. There were some scary moments in that, but one didn't really scare me.
I love his movies because he makes you think. Because even in that movie, you think you're living in the old days, and there's just like these group of people that's like trying to like live out here, do their thing, and it's not even on. Like at first, you could have thought that this wasn't even on Earth, right? And then you find out, oh, they're doing this. Then you find out this one thing. Then he takes you into the barn and like reveals that the thing they're supposedly scared of is fake. Then that character is trying to go get medicine to save another character. And then you see the thing that you were just told was fake coming after them. So then it's like a mind thing of like, wait 1 second. Dude, so that they have a fake one, but then there was a real one out there?
Oh yeah,
like what's going on?
Like this twist.
Then you find out like that was even a fake, and that not only are they here on Earth, they literally are trying to run away from all the pain and stuff like these cities and people that live in cities and stuff have to go through with people getting killed and stuff. I love that, man. Like, I don't know, some people don't like it as much or whatever. But
how dare you?
But yeah, I love those things, man. Like where the movie makes you think, and he usually has this like thing underlying like tone he wants to say, right? Like we can't run from our past. We can't do it. Like that's the underlying tone for that movie. Like he does it in a very creative way. That's like told in a style, and like that's what you're there to learn. It's like one of the newer movies he did, Old. There's like a moment in that movie that's like so good that I always remember it. I don't think it's one of his greatest movies he's done, but I enjoyed it. But there's a moment where the lady goes, "I'm mad at my sister." And she's like, "I don't even know why. I can't even remember why.
Yeah.
And now I'm trapped on this beach and I'll never get the opportunity to talk to my sister again." And there's so many people, whether it be friends you used to have, family members and stuff like that, that like you don't even have a reason. You got in a stupid argument or a fight one time over something dumb.
Yeah.
And you let that thing linger and fester, and you can't, and like you don't think about it. The time keeps on turning, man. And you don't have that opportunity to come back from and do anything for it. It's like a really good message he always puts in his movies.
Yeah. No, good point. So, I enjoy Halloween very much. I think a lot of people wonder. I'm sure they wonder. I don't think anyone's ever asked me, but and they're like, "You're a religious guy. How can you like Halloween?" And I'm like, "Because it's fun. I don't care about that. It's all just fun." But I enjoy Halloween very, very much.
I say the same thing about Halloween that I'd say about almost any religious holidays.
Yeah.
It's not even about the actual religion anymore, as far as, I mean, individuals, right? So like for yourself, Brennan, you may do Christmas the way of Christianity, right?
Yeah.
Like you may like do gifts and stuff like that, but you're doing it because of like
reading the
your
story
religion,
from the Bible and all that stuff. Yes.
But let's be honest here, bro. When Christmas comes around, 99% of people ain't thinking about God and Jesus. They're thinking about Santa Claus.
True.
Halloween's the same thing. You're thinking about dressing up as a favorite scary movie character and like getting candy. Nobody's thinking about like the things that could be associated with that could be like even on the bad side, right? Like people take, I think, things way too seriously sometimes or whatnot. It's perfectly fine. Yeah. That's why I would have never asked you that question, is because, bro, we're not out there doing seances. We're just out there getting candy.
Yeah.
Or like I have a Christian background and stuff. Like I wouldn't necessarily say, obviously I'm not a Bible thumper. I don't talk about it a lot or any of that kind of stuff. But I mean, my grandmother was super religious and I respected her a lot. So like I followed her and through some of that. Almost became like a youth minister. If I almost went to school to be a youth minister.
I actually am to a degree.
Yeah. And but I don't think there's anything wrong with watching like horror movies or being a fan of horror or being a fan of Halloween and stuff like that. Man, there's things God's got to worry about more than if we like a horror movie or not. I'm a very like open-minded when it comes to stuff like
here's
that.
A good question. Do Halloween costumes need to be scary?
No.
Nah, man. Do you see some of the women
out
there?
I've ever dressed as anything scary.
Listen.
I was dressed as like a sailor or something like that.
Nah, you don't. Halloween, man, just about having a good time. Like I could see Adelia joining up and doing a dress up, but she's probably not going to pick like something horrific. Like she's probably going to pick like just a character that she wants to be. Like, I mean, look at all the kids that dress up like Transformers back in the day, or like Star Wars characters, like
Turtles.
Yeah, I'd probably do a Star Wars character just because I can bring out my sweet ass lightsaber.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of, I bought a lightsaber. I had to build the lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge, and so I have a lightsaber.
Oh, wait 1 second.
Yeah, I haven't put it up in my room yet.
So it's not close to you.
No.
What design did you go through?
I went with sort of the higher up like defense and peace.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a golden hilt.
No, yep, I understand which one you're talking about.
Green blade.
Nice.
Yep.
I mean, you chose the wrong side, but I mean, it's fine.
There's no way I'm going dark side,
bro.
See, I mean, when you build the lightsaber and you got the chance,
I'll be right back.
At the Galaxy's Edge.
I would, If I had the chance, yeah,
What
absolutely.
color would you go with?
I don't know, because I honestly don't know what the options are beyond like blue and green and red.
Blue,
So
purple, yellow, green, blue, purple, yellow, red. I think those are the colors.
probably go yellow or purple just to be different.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I got purple.
Yeah, Justin's got purple.
Well, you got the same one is on the same bag. I think it's the standard bag.
Yeah, this is the one they give you. If you don't like, I haven't had to use it very much, so it's like held up pretty well. But I do know that like you probably want to get the other one like that they sell. It's not very expensive for the bag.
Those listening on audio,
mine is not going to work because the batteries are dead. I need to change the batteries out, but
let me guess. The blade is red.
Oh, it's red. Actually, it's either red or purple.
I can't remember.
I can't remember which one, what crystal I got in here.
He got both
crystals. I got both crystals.
But that's a really cool hilt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the dark side, my friend. That's why you should have picked it. You know what I'm saying?
No way I'm going dark side.
Bruh. Bad choice. But I got like a thing over there that I can put on there. It's got like the Sith robe.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I got the Sith robe. I've got this. It's one of the coolest things I've ever did, to be honest with you. One of the coolest things I ever did.
So I want to ask, is there a moment in any of the Star Wars films that actually scares you? We'll start with you, Adelia. Anything in Star Wars that actually scares you?
I don't know. Them in the trash compactor gets me kind of claustrophobic as the walls are closing in.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if that necessarily scares me.
But still, it's kind of an anxiety of being.
Yeah, it definitely raises my anxiety.
Yeah. Justin, anything in Star Wars? Any scenes that?
Bro, most horror
scary or anxiety inducing.
Most horror movies and stuff like that doesn't even like bother me even when I was younger. So like definitely probably something in Star Wars really wouldn't have like but like let's say I watch that stuff for like entertainment more than I do because it scares me or whatever, right? Some people actually watch things like that to be scared. Because that's why you ride a roller coaster. It scares you a little bit, right? Like gets you in that thing. So like the thing that I've seen, there's two things in Star Wars that I thought, especially from the original trilogy, that I could see definitely was in that kind of thing. Was like the first time you seen the Wampa in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, when it pops up, that's kind of scary.
And then I would say if you go into the backstory of Dr. Evison.
Oh, yeah.
Like that guy was wanted on 12 systems, but if you actually looked into his backstory, there could have been a really cool, scary story told by him because he was like this scientist / doctor that was going around like basically experimenting on people. And like the reason why he was wanted on 12 systems is because he's killed all kinds of people because he wasn't doing like good experiments. He was doing experiments that ended up killing a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah, the Minox sticking in the window. Yeah, to me, I know that there's a movement that always startles me. It's when Leia and Wicket are on that log, and Wicket can sense there's a stormtrooper somewhere, and Leia's like, where? And then, it's really quiet as they pan across the forest, and then there's this loud laser blast.
Mm-hmm.
That gets me like, whoa, that always makes me jump a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Star Wars isn't necessarily very scary in the traditional sense.
No, I mean it can be though.
Friendly.
You take Rogue One, which Adelia was talking about, was one of her favorites. Obviously, one of my favorites too, as far as things that Disney's done after the buying of Star Wars. But you take Rogue One and that hallway scene is the reason why it's so impactful. That was literally Jason Voorhees. That was Jason Voorhees going to a campsite.
It's a slasher film with Darth Vader.
Exactly, like that. That's why that moment's so impactful. It's short. I mean, it's only like a minute and a half or so long. of that scene. But when he goes through that hall with those people, man, and them screaming, and the one guy's like, "Get it, get it, get it," you know.
Well, visually, the dark hall, you then hear the breathing, and then the lightsaber turns on, and everything just goes to heck.
Yep. I mean, some people don't even notice it, but they're part of that scene. He throws a dude up,
yes,
into the ceiling, and as he walks by, he swings his saber,
yeah,
and cuts the dude in half. Like it was literally like he was Jason Voorhees with a machete walking through a hallway and taking out campers. And I think there's places for stuff like that, because that's one of the things that I'm finding here, and I've talked about it a little bit on some of the shows or movies that we have talked about that we watched, is like bad guys need to be bad guys. We need to stop being scared. Make bad guys bad guys.
Yeah.
Like whatever the story needs, whatever kind of bad guy. If the story needs a big racist, let them be racist, right? Like that's the part of the story, and then we get to watch him get his just desserts at the end of the film, right? Like that kind of stuff. Let them be terrible people.
It's true.
Let people be terrible in the movies. It's make believe for a reason. And like if you do it right, it could also be life lessons for people to watch.
No,
like, I shouldn't be like that guy because look what happened to him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're getting too much like where we're too worried about certain things, and it's like, nah, man. Like, show those evil villains like they're gonna be like evil, and let them be evil. Like, let them do the thing, and they try to make like, come here, just let the dude be evil. Stop trying to make him seem like, oh, he's a kind of an okay guy. Like, because that's even worse. Like, because like, look, all right,
I never thought he was an okay guy.
But I'm saying like the way they portrayed him through some of that is him being a cool guy. Like he's not being a total evil bastard.
That's him.
Oh, let me get you food. Yeah, I mean that could be too, right?
He's manipulating.
Yeah, and that could be true. But like my point being is like I guess a little bit with that is like when you try to do that kind of stuff and blur the lines, like that affects people that's been through that. Could like really like there's people out there that's met people that were super cool to them at first, did the manipulation, and then turned on a dime and became a horrific story.
It's true.
And they got to live through it. And because some of these shows and movies are doing these like kind of gray area bad guys, because it seems like people are too scared to just do an evil bad guy and let them be hardcore. They're trying to do this little mixture where we kind of understand it. It's like those people, if I was one of those people, I'd be affected by that when I saw it on screen. I'd be like, whoa, man. Like I had to live through that. Like this guy that seems good, but then does something bad. Like, so to me, it's like, stop doing that stuff. Just let bad guys be bad guys, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love bad guys. I love horror movies. I root for Jason.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Pivot to and I thought I had is so. I gotta ask. So the question is, who's your Star Wars crush now? Adelia, do you have a crush, or rather, would you say maybe somebody you'd like to hang out with?
Oh, I'd hang out with Rey. I don't have crushes, but I'd hang out with Rey.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, Rey's a good choice. I mean, she's pretty cool. Justin, your Star Wars crush?
The Emperor.
That's an interesting.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Unlimited
That's an interesting
power.
Choice.
Unlimited
the
power.
Emperor is my favorite Star Wars character.
Oh,
but I don't think I would have a crush on him.
Oh, yes, you will die, young Jedi. You will die. So I'd have been like pumped up, man. I'd been behind him like, hell yeah, you tell him, Emperor. You tell him like it is, punk. You over here trying to be goody two shoes. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be like, oh, yeah, I'm so good and everything else so justified. Blam. Took a dump on you, Luke. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of stuff. Like, I mean, but if we get real, I mean, I mean, it's kind of almost obvious if you, especially if you ask a guy, like in most cases, it's going to be like Princess Leia.
Yeah.
But it isn't because, and she was a beautiful lady. Carrie Fisher was beautiful back in the day when she was young, man. Everything else, like we all remember her because it's more recent, like when she's older. But Carrie Fisher was a beautiful woman, man, back then.
She was.
But the thing about this was, and the reason why I liked her wasn't just really because of that. My grandmother, strong woman. My mom, a strong woman. One of my favorite characters in Star Wars that was a woman was Princess Leia. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I get irritated sometimes when I think people just want to routinely forget like the strong women we've had in cinemas and shows in the past just to pretend like they're being one of the first now. You know, when Wonder Woman came out and I saw these people like trying to act like it was the first ever strong character, like, bro, it ain't.
No.
Do you realize that back in the 70s times were different?
Yeah.
Do you realize the chance that George Lucas took to even put that character on screen, especially being that dominant and that powerful? Like, she was one of the first women I saw, and I'm pretty sure there's even a movie or a show that had another strong character that was a lady. She was just the first one that I saw that like took hold of the screen, dominated the screen sometimes, even with more popular characters.
Well, what's really cool about it,
she didn't just get saved. She was like, nah, dog, I get y'all came in here and got me out of the jail cell, but I'm taking charge. Right?
She's a damsel in distress in the literal sense. But as soon as they rescue her, it's like he takes charge.
I just don't like it when people ignore those people that I grew up with. And because I like horror, it's even more because every freaking horror movie I watched, a strong ass woman beat the unstoppable.
It's true.
Like every movie I was watching.
Yeah,
and then I would like, then I see these people, like I said, try to ignore some of those. Like, I mean, you got Homegirl from Terminator, Connor.
Yeah.
You got
Ellen Ripley.
Alien, your favorite movie, Ripley. Like, come on, bro. Like these strong women everywhere that I saw.
Ripley
like,
and Sarah Connor are like.
And look, I don't mind that. Like maybe, like I just said earlier, Leia was like the first strong, like super strong female character that I really attached onto and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she happened to be the first one I saw. I'm pretty sure there were others before her. But it's like I just don't like it when you ignore those older characters just to act like you doing
legacy.
Like you doing something for the first time.
You can't
Bro,
ignore the legacy of it.
I already seen it. I seen it with my own eyes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And but yeah, that's the only like. But I just wish she and a couple other characters and stuff like that got the really the what they should have got, man. There should have been a special award for Carrie Fisher, like to be able to be and play like she did, and she did it in a good way.
Yep.
She didn't come out trying to be pompous about it, like I'm a badass, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm better than this and that. She played her role. She dominated the screen. She didn't have to say anything else, man. She just did it. So there wasn't this animosity or anything. It was like, I've never heard one person deny that Carrie Fisher dominated the screen on most of the time that she was on.
It's true.
She didn't dominate every scene, obviously, because maybe she was just in the background. But anything that she had spoken words that she did, she like carried herself with like gravitas, man, did the thing, dude. She was just amazing and awesome and dominated. And none of those dudes that you would talk about that loved those movies from the original time would ever say a bad word about her and would even like deny that she didn't dominate. There's never been a friend of mine that's male that would ever come out and say, nah, man, Princess Leia was a crap character. They can't. Because as soon as if they did do something like that, they'd be ostracized because they're lying through their teeth.
Yep.
And that kind of thing. So, like, man, like I said, and the time period, you got to take the 70s.
Yeah.
Like, people walking around here now, like, it's super bad sometimes. And I get it, man. Sometimes everybody is put in bad situations. Man, I had to do a single father thing for a long period of time. I get it, man. Like, life's tough sometimes, and you're not dealt the right cards and everything else. You're not dealt the same hand to other people. They get a leg up. They were born in a rich family or whatever it is, right? But, like, it's way better than the 70s now. If you're a woman, you literally can do anything. You may bump into an asshole every now and then.
It's true.
But you're not doing that nearly as often because most of those people are dying off this old. So you don't even have people that think that way in most cases anymore. But if you're a woman, you literally can do anything you want. We have a woman running for president right now. Right? Like you can do anything.
I was going to say, I don't endorse political candidates on this show, but I hope she wins.
But
anyhow, putting that aside,
I don't vote for any of them, to be honest with you, so I don't care. But I don't even think the president's got as much power as most people even think. So I don't think it's like life or death, no matter who we get. But
anyway,
we don't want to go there.
Not go down that road.
We don't want to go that way. To me, Star Wars crush. I mean, to me, it's so weird because it's all the animated characters. It's Hera and Senator Chuchi and well, Ray, I guess, like kind of the thing. Adler Chris in the books. A few other people here and there, but anyhow, but moving on to the crush thing. You know what's interesting to me is Star Wars is so full of amazing characters. So you have a whole plethora to pick from. It's like the characters you really like. And good grief. Laser says his crush is Princess Misa. Ewok. I mean, there we go again with Ewoks. But Star Wars.
So Laser Bolt out here telling us he's a furry. Okay, we got it.
Well, maybe. One of the things about Star Wars is that there's all these great background characters.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, I'll start with you, Adelia. Who are the background characters you really like in Star Wars? You see them and you go, I like that guy.
I don't know if the one that comes to mind right now is from the Aftermath books. And it's Sinjir, I think is his name.
Sinjir.
Yeah. He's funny to me. I really enjoyed him when I read the Aftermath trilogy. Maz Kanata is another one if you consider her a background character that I really like. She's great, yeah. And Snap Wexley from the trilogy as well.
Great Grunberg.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I know he's great. He's great.
Yeah.
Greg Grunberg is in all of JJ's films. Kind of interesting. Justin, who are the background characters you really like?
Look, man, I would have loved to have seen a story with Dr. Evazan, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe some like cop or something trying to catch him on one of the systems, but he keeps squirming away, kind of thing. I would have loved to have known what that damn werewolf was sitting in the Maz cantina.
Yeah.
Like I like to see what his thing was, what he was out there doing. There's a lot of characters like that in that cantina alone, but like there's like a bunch of characters. Like I would like to see the story of the pod racer whose car blew up at the very beginning of that race. Like, how did he even get in the race? Like, how did he get there? Oh, Quadraneros. Oh, there are Quadraneros, and there's like things blowing up and everything. Like, man, there's just so many when it comes to Star Wars. Like, what like characters and things you could go with and make a story about that would be like so cool. And that's like one of the frustrating things is like, bro, how come? Like, I liked what they did. I haven't been able to read all of them, but like I want to. The different personal stories for like each original trilogy movie, like the certain point of view books, I think it's like a really cool thing. But I literally think they could have did some of that with like a show or something, right? Like, you could have did a cool show where you took each individual character from the Mos Eisley Cantina and made like an episode about or something that would have been like really super cool. Like animated. You could have did it in do it like live action. But man, dude, like I would like to know all the generals that got choked by Vader, like what they liked doing before they were killed by Vader on screen.
Also, Nita, those guys.
Yeah, all these guys, man. He's just like taking them out. But he choked a dude during via satellite, bro. That's the most badass thing ever done. Period. But yeah, like I mean, like so, like your favorite characters are always like those main ones, like Vader and Palpatine and everything else. But you also have a bunch of characters that are really cool, that'd be really fun to have and dive deep into. But there's just so many. I could sit here and just keep naming off like cool characters that I think would have been cool if we'd have got more time with.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly enjoy. I mean, there's a lot of characters in the cantina that are really cool looking, and Jonas Tellis, of course, has a lot of great characters.
Like
Wedge Antilles,
Porkins,
underrated characters.
Rip the Porkins.
Yeah, rest in power, Porkins.
Yep.
Biggs with his 70s mustache.
Yep.
70s perf stash. I mean, Jonas Tellis is like, Salacious Crumb.
But
and all these weird looking guys.
IG-11, man. There's like a story out there of him, there's a story out there of him taking over the actual Death Star.
Or IG-88, actually.
Yeah, IG-88. I said 11, but that's the one for Mandalorian. But IG-88 taking over the Death Star, and the Emperor just happens to catch him before he's complete power of the Death Star. Think about that, man.
That story, I remember that.
Like all of this stuff's like super cool, like and just really fascinating, but like they just don't dive into those things.
I tell you, fighting IG-88 in Shadows of the Empire, the N64 game. Oh my gosh, that was
no joke. Fight. Like Dash Rendar.
Yeah, Dash Rendar.
Come on, man. Like there's just all these things out there. The one thing I've always said is like, I don't hate on Kathleen Kennedy. I just don't think she's a good like runner. She's a great producer. I just don't think she has very either good PR people or her herself's PR people, because like when you just go out there and say things like, well, like the MCU has all this like material. You've got all this material. What are you talking about? Like you say things like that, and of course people's going to dog on it. That kind of deal. Yeah, like I said,
again, send all your complaints to Let's Get Ready Network.
We need to let Brennen take charge. To be honest with you,
I don't know. I'd probably be a terrible executive.
Please don't send your complaints to the Let's Get Ready Network. Send them directly to Justin.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm cool with
it.
Listen, man, that's how you learn. That's how you learn is from mistakes and comments.
Well, another favorite side character. I don't know. I don't know why I like her so much, but I do. That's Lieutenant Connix from the sequel trilogy.
Oh yeah, Carrie Fisher's daughter, right?
Carrie Fisher's daughter. Yeah, I like her. I like her a lot. All sorts of great, weird side characters, and I love that in Star Wars you get all these weird characters. You got, who's that guy? What's his story? You always want to know. Well, it looks like we have come to the end of the stream. We've been running for 3 hours and 10 minutes. Thank you two for coming on.
Of course.
And thank you everybody in the chat. Yeah, so my birthday's in 2 weeks, so I will be probably watching something Star Wars on my birthday. And something like that. I haven't watched Rogue One in a while, so maybe I should go do that. As we end, I always like to end with, and I've asked the question before, of what Star Wars means to you. But I think to end, I'll ask you the question of, What's your favorite piece of Star Wars merchandise that you own? Adelia, I'll start with you.
That's a good question. I don't know that I have that much merchandise. I have some Funko Pops that are pretty cool, so probably one of them. But I don't have much room, so
one in particular.
I have a Rey one from one of the sequel trilogy movies.
Yeah, I
that's
think I have the same one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin, your favorite piece of Star Wars merch?
Obviously a lightsaber. It was I love doing it. It was worth the money because I got the little bit of experience putting
really
it together.
It was really fun.
I haven't made a video for our channel. It's somewhere still on there somewhere where I've got the video of my son like filming me making it. I wasn't about to let him make it.
We got a video of me making mine. So
yeah, and it's pretty cool because we even got interacted with by the person that was kind of like that walked around and was kind of telling you what to do, sort of thing. Yeah. Like he came and asked me, he's like, "Bro, what color are you putting in there?" I said, "I really wanted to put red, but I had to get purple because y'all didn't have no purple out for selling the shop." Yeah,
Randy.
But yeah,
Justin has all the Funko.
I like all the fun. Yeah, bro, that's some cool ass ones over here, bro. Like we got Big Daddy over here. Got
Big Daddy. That's one way to call Vader.
Yeah, I mean, I got Big Daddy hanging up behind me.
Yeah.
There he goes.
There we go. Yeah.
And he makes licensed sounds. I got a Kylo Ren that's that way. This one right here that's in the case is kind of cool.
Oh,
that sits back there.
Oh my goodness.
But he's got like a cool little paint scheme or whatever on him. Like, so yeah, those are cool as shit. But man, I just love Star Wars, man. Period. And I'm honest about my feelings when it comes to new things and stuff. So I give you the honest opinion. But it's going to be whether I like it, hate it, don't matter. I'm going to have some fun with it, man. Like, even though I think that Bo-Katan is right there where my finger is, took away from the Mandalorian season 3 because it was the Mandalorian, same kind of thing we did with Book of Boba Fett, where we had Boba Fett, but he wasn't even part of his show for 2 episodes.
Nope.
Yes, you were saying.
But yeah, I think that almost sort of happened with like, her. It was almost like a Bo-Katan show.
Sorry, that was my anti-Bo-Katan slander effect.
Yeah. No, I love I love the character. That's the thing, right? Like, I didn't really care for the Mandalorian season 3 as big as it was. Like, if you wanted to do a story about her, don't be chicken shit. Make a story about her. Make a show, Bo-Katan, or just call it like something else, right? But then like have a big story about her character. She's a cool ass character, and I think, gosh, I should know her name right off the top of my head.
Katie Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff is freaking amazing as Bo-Katan.
I've got to meet her 3 times, and she is
no problem with the character. Well, my thing was like with the Book of Boba Fett, with the Mandalorian episodes, I actually liked those episodes.
I did too.
But it shouldn't have been part of Boba Fett. Like, shouldn't have been. Like, that should have been part of the Mandalorian. It shouldn't have been part of the Book of Boba Fett. And it kind of threw the show off a little bit.
Send all your complaints to Hollywood Handbone on.
That's right. Send them, baby. Laser Bolt, send them. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Brandy always sending them, man. She's nonstop, man.
My favorite piece of Star Wars merch I have, is a signed picture by Katie Sackhoff.
Oh, yeah.
Besides that is my figurine of Omega from the Bad Batch.
Nice.
I love that character.
You know what? For the first time ever, I fell for the trap. This is another thing that a franchise that I love, but I just don't love the movies and stuff, so I don't talk about them as much. But I fell for the trap because I actually enjoyed the movie too. But I got me a Transformers 1, the little collector's cup.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? They gave me the choice of what to put on top of it as far as a topper. I didn't get stupid Optimus Prime, baby. I got my boy Megatron. That's right. Megatron. Decepticons is the way to go. But that movie's actually surprisingly really good.
It's pretty good.
I liked it.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, thanks to the both of you for coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find you, Adelia?
You can find me on Threads at Schizoaffective Adelia. I post on there more than I post on Twitter. Sometimes. You can find me at the Let's Get Ready Network. We have 2 channels, LGRN Entertainment and LGRN The Highlights. I'm on both, hosting various shows with that guy over there, Justin Hamilton.
Let me tell you something. You brought up that comment right there. James Earl Jones spoke to us all.
He did. He did.
He was one of the great ones, and I say that because many years he's been around. Ain't nobody had nothing bad to say about that dude, man.
Yep.
So I wish I could have been a friend of his, like a legit friend, because I think he would have been the coolest guy to be a friend of. Yeah. Like straight up. Wish I knew him personally.
Justin, where can we find you?
With Adelia, sometimes complaining about maybe some things I do or say. But like I said, man, the one thing about me is I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you my honest opinion. I have certain principles and morals that I'm gonna stand on, and I'm gonna tell people whether I like it or not. Sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's a hard truth. But I can honestly say I don't think I've ever. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can ask. I'll ask Adelia this. Ever been super hard on something that maybe I didn't have a good point to be?
I don't think so.
If I'm hard on something, man, and sometimes I'm more hard on Star Wars because I expect better, because it's my favorite thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like my kid. If I'd have been the baseball coach, I love my kid, but I'm gonna expect better from him, right? Because he's my kid and I love him. The same thing about something like Star Wars, man. I love that thing. I love it. It's the thing that I love, and I expect better. And I'm tired of watching things with other franchises that are better than what I'm getting in Star Wars. I'm selfish that way. I want some good stuff. But I'm hyped. I'm hyped about the Skeleton Crew, baby.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Yes.
Bring it on. Maybe that's something we need, man. Rally the troops around some little cute characters and everything, going out and having an adventure, man. Because I enjoy Solo because it's a fun adventure movie. Yeah, Solo is a fun adventure movie.
Yes, Solo is.
People overlook that about that film. It doesn't have to be the biggest film, right? It just has to be a fun film. Let's have fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I didn't even notice
this. And then at the end of the day is why we like Star Wars. It's fun.
Yes. Hey, Brennen, I didn't even notice this until just now.
Yes.
Are you wearing the Freddy Krueger sweater right now?
No, but it looks like it.
It's pretty damn similar. Didn't even notice it till now. I was like, bruh, Brennen about to be in y'all's dreams tonight, son. Shoot, all right.
I would quote some of his lines, but they all contain profanity.
Yeah, a lot of
so I won't.
Nah, man. What about that? He said a line that said, "The power glove, man."
Yeah, it's true.
He didn't curse there. Now he had the power glove on. Remember that crap from the regular Nintendo?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm so glad you guys could join me. Thank you, everyone, for participating. And much love to all of you. My name is Brennen Marr. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. Thank you for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.
Always.